Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be the no contact rule. Well, I've got an email here from a guy who is dating this woman for, I guess they met back in May, and things are kind of going a little sideways now. And he wants my opinion. He says, hey, is this a situation where I should apply the no contact rule? Well, what does that tell me? That tells me this is a guy that's looking for the quick fix. This is not somebody that's taking the time to read my book 10 to 15 times. He's still thinking in terms of what strategy do I use? What button do I push? What magical pickup line do I say to get the desired results? You got to understand the principles in the book. Because if you understand the principles and the fundamentals, when these situations happen, you know instinctively what to do. You're not sitting there like this guy is like a fucking robot going, do I do A, do I do B, do I do C, do I do D, what do I do? So I have a quote that I wrote in this topic, and then we're going to go through his email. You should always pay attention to the level of effort that people who you are in relationship with make. If you notice that people start to take you for granted or are less than enthusiastic to see you, then you should remove your attention and not contact them until they contact you first. If they notice and they care, they will make an extra effort to make you feel wanted and appreciated. If they don't notice your disappearing act, then you know where you stand. You shouldn't be willing to make time for people in your life who don't care whether or not if you're in theirs. Definitely true. So with that in mind, let's take a closer look at his email, shall we? He says, hi Corey, long story short, we met in mid-May. June and July were amazing. She did most of the work, the calling, and the texting. So far, so good. Again, you got to read the book 10 to 15 times. And that's a big part of this guy's problem is he's asking me, what technique do I employ? What's the fucking quick fix, dude, Corey? I don't have time to read your goddamn 270-page fucking book. I mean, who's got time for that shit? Well, how much time do you have to sit at home feeling sad and sorry that this girl is no longer in your life? Just think of all the months and weeks it's going to take to get over that before you go, I don't need to read the fucking book. In August, she started getting stressed with work, and so here's what he thinks is it was the work stress. That's what it was. And we no longer texted every day. We also didn't go on an actual date that month. She came over to my place 4 times, but nothing formal. Well, what is a date? A date really is creating an opportunity for sex time. You can hang out and watch football, or baseball, or basketball, or soccer, or whatever you watch, or underwater basket weaving, or whatever, the Olympic swimming. You can sit home and watch movies. I mean, a date is hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. The place really is irrelevant, especially if you don't have a lot of money. If you're a college student, you don't have a lot of cash to do extravagant dates. But you don't want to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. August 27th, I dropped her off at the airport as she's traveling to Utah for a work conference. Fast forward a week and she gets back but seems a bit distant, so I did invite her on a date. That tells me you're probably reaching out to her and doing most of the pursuing. Now, like I teach in my book, which you should have read 10 to 15 times by now, but you obviously haven't, is that usually after the second or third week, second or third date, in most cases, if you're following what my book teaches, the woman is going to start reaching out and contacting you. If you had a date on, say, a Sunday, she might contact you on Tuesday or Wednesday. Just, hey, I had a great time the other night, thinking about you. I hope you're having a great week. That's when you make the next date. And once that starts to happen, there's really no reason to call or text her again, because every couple of days after you have a date, she'll be calling you up to say, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's your day up to? Hey, I saw a movie last night, and you know what? It reminded me of you. That's typically what happens, and you use those as opportunities to set the next date. He says, so I did invite her on a date. Well, you should have said, hey, well, give me a call when you get back to town, or I'll pick you up at the airport if you were supposed to be picking her up at the airport. But if you ask a woman to get together and you've been dating for a couple of months, like obviously in this case, and you mention getting together and she's like, oh, no, I'm really busy, I got this going on. Great. Well, when you figure out your schedule, get in touch with me and we'll plan something then. And then you let her reach out to you. She did come back with news that she was offered a new job. I was super happy for her, and I knew she hated her current job. So September 7th to the 11th was her last week at her old job, and when I asked her to hang out, She said her coworkers had invited her out for drinks and she had family plans for Saturday and Sunday. This tells me again you're pursuing. Again, you're 4 months in it. What was it? You met in May, so you're talking 4 months into it, and it sounds like you're doing all the pursuing at this point. You're not going to be successful. I mean, look at it. You're supposed to be her lover and the most fun that she has in her life, but she's like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my coworkers. And, by the way, I'm all busy this weekend, so don't you dare thinking you're going to get in my panties. 9/14 to 9/18, she'll be in Iowa for training. I tried to see her before she left, but she said she needed to get everything ready for her 2-week trip. Dude, you need to back the fuck off. Stop calling. Stop texting. Just wait to hear from her. Because this is a pattern that's going on for like literally for the first 2 months, things are great. She's doing mostly calling, texting, pursuing. And you probably did like most guys. You really started liking her and you wanted to see her more. So you started calling her more and she went along with it at first. But then she started getting busy, and you notice that she backed away. But again, this guy is a rational mind, like most guys think. Oh, it's because she's stressed at work. That's what really is going on. Yeah, that's why she doesn't want to see me, is because she's stressed at work. But yet you keep calling her week after week to try to get together, and she's, oh, gee, I don't know, gosh, you know, things are such crazy. Things are crazy. My schedule's so crazy. It means she's not that into you, dude. You're pursuing too much. You're never giving her any time and space away from you. And then you become like the needy, desperate, horny teenager that wants to lose his virginity. He says the next time, and you can tell what's his state of mind. What's he focusing on? Let's look at this next sentence. The next time I'd even have a chance to see her is maybe the 26th or the 27th of this month, which by then would be a month without seeing her. Oh my God. Well, how well is this over pursuing working for you, dude? You haven't seen her in a month. Before that, she only came to your house a few times. So that tells me that you're really kind of a backup kind of position dude because you've been over pursuing. And she's probably got 4 or 5 dudes like you in her life that she maybe hooks up with from time to time. I know she has a lot of things going on right now. No, dude, she just got low attraction level for you because you did too much pursuing. But her effort to communicate is very low. The quickest way to get someone else's attention is to remove yours. And I just don't want to be making excuses for her behavior. Well, I think you pretty much have been. I mean, think about this. You're trying to buy a house. Say you want to pay $100,000 for the house. But the seller's like, no way, I want $120,000. And then you call the seller every couple of days going, hey, will you take $100,000 for it? Come on. Come on. You know you want to sell it to me. Think about it. From a seller's perspective, he's desperate to move out of town. Maybe they got another house they're building. Is he motivated? What are his motivations to sell? I mean, it's helpful in a negotiation, which is basically what this is. You're negotiating with this woman for her time. It's like, in essence, you're kind of begging her for her time, but she doesn't want to give you any. And then a few days later, you call her and you beg her again for the time. It's just like begging somebody to drop the price. The real way to do it is the strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. So if you want to buy that house for $100,000 and it's only worth $100,000, but the jackass wants $120,000 for it, you're going to say, well, you know, it's only worth $100,000. I'd love to buy the house. I love its perfect. The neighborhood's great. School's great for my kids. Hey, you know, you got my number. Give me a call if you change your mind. It won't even appraise for anything over $100,000 anyways. So walk away and you never look back in that kind of a negotiation. And you keep looking for a house that's priced right, that has all the things you want, and that will actually appraise for the value that the guy wants to sell it for. Because, again, if you're calling, it's like the example I used recently with Donald Trump and Fox News. I mean, Roger Ailes went to Donald Trump's office to talk to him personally. Why? Because Roger Ailes wanted Donald Trump to come back on his network. Donald Trump had all the cards. He had a scarce resource, which was his time. And Roger Ailes really wanted his time because, quite frankly, that's really great for ratings, and they make a lot of money in advertising. So it's really a monetary thing. Strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. The quickest way to get somebody's attention is to remove yours. Here's my question. Would this be a time to use a no contact rule, or do I just need to be patient and let her settle in? Well, dude, at this point, after 4 months, there should be no reason for you to be calling and texting her all the time. Again, you don't know the book. And that's why you're fucking up. You have no idea what you're doing. You watch a few videos here, and maybe you even haven't read the book yet. You watch a few videos because you're looking for the quick fix, and you're just not being a serious student, and that's why you're in this situation. You're not going to be successful just watching a video here and there and trying to cherry pick information. You got to learn the fundamentals. You got to understand. You got to be able to take corrective action, not 2 months after you notice that she's slipping away, but the moment you notice when you ask her out that she's not that enthusiastic about it, or she says, I'm busy. When a woman says, I'm busy, or I can't get to it, or my schedule's up in the air, you have to be willing to say, great, figure it out and get in touch with me. And then you wait. If she cares, she will be back in touch with you at some point. But if she doesn't, you'll never hear from her again. And obviously in this particular case, she knows that she's got all the power, that you're more into her than she is into you. And that's why she keeps turning you down. Because it's like, she knows she's got you. She's got you right where she wants you. And so again, at this point, you shouldn't be calling and texting so much. You should only ask out 2 separate consecutive times in a row, like I talk about in the book. And when the other person says no or they're too busy, then you just say, hey, great. But really, that really only applies for the first few weeks, because that's what you should do when you first start dating somebody. But when you've been dating somebody for basically off and on for about 4 months at this point, again, she started backing away, you pursued too much, you just got to learn to back off. And again, the book explains this. But since you don't know the fundamentals, you didn't take the time for it, that's why you're in this situation here, and you're trying to be a robot and just pick a strategy that's going to work. Oh, I want no contact. Yeah, no contact is not the magic fucking pill for everything. But when you notice the other person's not making an effort, or they're always busy, then you just stop. Stop putting in an effort, because they're not making any effort to see you. The greatest gift that you can give anybody is a gift of your time. But what you have taught this woman is that no matter how much she blows you off or how too busy she is, you're going to keep coming back for more. You're going to keep begging her, which is basically what you're doing without it. You're continually begging her to spend time with you. And then you're upset that you haven't seen her in a month. Think about it. Do you sound like a scarce and valuable resource? Or do you sound like a disposable commodity? Definitely a disposable commodity, dude. That's just the way it is. So I wouldn't do anything. I'd wait to hear from her. And when you do hear from her, invite her to your place to make dinner together. Hang out, have fun, hook up. And if she comes over 3 times in a row, 3 different, in your next 3 days, she comes to your house, you hang out, you have fun, and hook up, then you can start taking her out and picking her up. But again, there's no reason for you to be calling and texting her at this point in your relationship, especially now when she's in essence blowing you off, and it's been a month since you've even seen this girl. So her attraction level is, the bottom's falling out of it, dude. She was really into it at first, but when she started backing off a little bit, which women always naturally do when they get too familiar with a guy, they're just like cats. But since you didn't know any better, you started pursuing too much, and then obviously she started backing away. The more she backed away, the more you pursued, and the more sideways it went. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.